using cutlasses, knives, and other harmful weapons. That we suspected where in his accomplice's action, deceased Amos Ware sustained a deep cut on the back of his head, while other survivors or surviving victims of deceased sustained abrasions, bruises, and broken necks. The suspect Peter Ware was arrested with a blue and white stainless steel kitchen knife with blue handle in his hand, using seen against several victims, and even threatened to stab a police officer. The suspect Peter Ware, Prince Toby, Nangwe Ravels, Edmond Mason, Elias Blackbottle, William Carley were seen around the surrounding of the crusade ground, pretending to provide security as though they were members of the Word of Life Outreach Ministry Incorporated. The investigation established that David Wallace was working along with the Word of Life Ministries Incorporated as a spirit prior and after the crusade, and that he and other church members packed the church instruments and properties before and after the crusade. The Word of Life Ministries Outreach Incorporated, through its overseer Apostle Abraham Coman, knowing that New Town community is densely populated, did not write the Liberia National Police officially to provide officers who have controlled the entire field. That the D12 Memorial School pitch was given for use by the Money or the Moravia Consolidated School System, central office located 12th Street, St. Paul, Monrovia, to the Word of Life Outreach Ministry Incorporated for 2 days, which started from January 19th to the 20th, 2022. Conclusion. In view of the foregoing facts and circumstances coupled with the physical examination, the kitchen knife that was collected with blue handle, and 31 dead bodies, witnesses' testimonies, and background inquiry, the investigation resolved to charge suspects Peter Ware, Prince Toby, Nangwe Ravels, Edmond Mason, and William Carley with the crimes criminal conspiracy, armed robbery, and murder, respectively, in violations of Chapter 10, Section 4, Section 10.4, Chapter 15, Section 15.32, Chapter 14, Section 14.1, while other suspects to be identified and also charged likewise in absentia, pending trial by court of law. That is with the stampede issue from D12 Memorial High School, where currently 31 persons lost their life. And we also want to give you updates in the investigation regarding the rape allegation leveled against one of LNP senior officers, the person of GCP Joshua Dewey. The Liberia National Police has concluded a full-scale investigation into alleged rape leveled against the Montserrat Region Commander GCP Joshua Dewey by a female police officer. For reason of confidentiality, we won't call the name of this victim here. I think this is the normal practice. The alleged victim. It can be recalled that on November 30, 2021 at 3:14 p.m., a female police officer, age 36, the victim, an alleged resident of Ken Johnson Road, it's Obi Camboy, right? Yeah, she lives at Camboy Barracks, the military barracks in Kingsburg, alone, alleged that she was sexually abused during the night out of Thursday, November 25, 2021, by suspect Joshua Dewey. On January 11, 2022, after a professional stimulus division investigation, the case file, along with findings and recommendations, were forwarded to the Women and Children Protection sections for criminal investigations. As a normal practice, when a police officer is accused of having committed any violation, especially so issue that has criminal connotation. The process is that the officer will be forwarded to professional standards as provided for in the LNP Act to be given due process. And in that investigation, whatever the conclusion will be, that officer will be interdicted by the Inspector General of Police and forwarded to the Crime Services Department. Of course, the Women and Children Protection section falls under the Crime Services Department. And so, after professional standards investigation, all of the findings were turned over to the Women and Children Protection section to carry on further criminal investigation. During police investigation and on January 11, 2022, the police investigation conducted with the relevant parties in a separate accounts. The following facts were established to it: that the victim was on a COVID-19 special assignment at Roberts International Airport. The suspect Joshua Durin served as an immediate supervisor. So sorry, we are reading because it's better to add the adjective alleged suspect or alleged victim. So let's get this clear. Because if you continue to say victim, it means that facts were established that indeed somebody was victim of some misconduct or some crime. So you pardon us if we continue to say victim without using the adjective alleged. That the alleged victim was originally assigned to the Community Services section as in 5, commonly called Total Base in Painesville. It was also established that suspect Joshua Durin and the victim were together at the LNP HQ on November 25, 2021 during the late evening hours, where they, talking about suspect Joshua Durin and the alleged victim, they sat at the impoundment ground in front of the LNP HQ. You look through the window, you see the impoundment ground there. There they were keeping company. That on November 25, 2021, after 21 hours, suspect Durin and the victim boarded DCP Ellis Arrow Wiggins, assigned Human Resource LNP marked vehicle for Central HQ, and disembarked at a Dupont Road junction. We are saying that after they been together for all this time, we boarded another senior officer's vehicle and they landed at Dupont Road junction where they disembarked. That the victim and suspect Joshua Durin's wife, Peace K. Durin, had abusive exchanges through SMS messages on November 29, 2021. The alleged victim reported the allegation of rape against suspect Joshua Durin to the offices of the Inspector General in the WAPS on November 30, 2021, 5 days after the alleged incident and a day after the abusive exchanges between she and the suspect's wife. We try to do the connection so that you guys understand the time interval when this alleged action took place and when it was reported. That the alleged victim had no physical injury or bruise as an evidence to suggest act of force used during the alleged commission of the relevant act. That the suspect Durin went to victim at Zone 5 Total Base on November 26, 2021, and that togetherness was cordial with no sign of disagreement between them. The investigation also established that the alleged victim call recorded shows that the call log that was attended to shows that the last call on her phone, number 0770428368 on November 25, 2021 at 10:18 p.m. lasted for 45 seconds. And that call did not come from suspect Durin. It rather came from her. The reason why she called this suspect and they spoke for 45 minutes, 45 seconds, is yet to be moved. In view of the facts and circumstances established during the investigation, the commission of the crime and rape could not be established. In that, because to establish rape, there are elements that has to be available. In that, rape as provided for in the revised penal code of the Republic of Liberia, chapter 14, section 14.70, states, a person who has sexual intercourse with another person, male or female, has committed rape if he intentionally penetrates the vagina, anus, mouth, or any other opening of another person, male or female, with his penis without the victim's prior consent, or he or she intentionally penetrates the vagina, anus, mouth, or any other person or part of the person with foreign objects, or with another part of the body other than the penis without the victim's consent. We need to get this correct. The victim is less than 18 years old, provided the actor is 18 years of age or above. Then we come to the issue of consent. Consent. For the purpose of this felony, the person consents if he or she agrees by choice and has the freedom and capacity to make that choice. Meaning you are not coerced, you are not under tension, you are not placed under any threat. So consent must be free of any form of harassment or intimidation. That's consent. There shall be a presumption of lack of consent if the following circumstances exist. A. Any person who acts at the time of the relevant act or immediately before it began was using violence against the victim or causing the victim to fear that immediate violence will be used against him or her. What are we saying? Before this act could happen, the perpetrator made the victim to understand that if you refuse, I will kill you, brandish weapon, and say I will kill you, or if you tell anybody what is happening, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Those are the conditions. And so, all of these, the investigation did not establish any. So in this fund analysis, the investigation concluded the issue of rape as alleged by this officer of the United States. And so in any criminal investigation, it's good to conclude so that you give relief to the accused person or persons. So in this light, the investigation has concluded that the issue of rape as alleged against Officer Joshua Dury, United States, is false and misleading.
Okay, so thank you so much. That is the briefing from our Deputy Inspector General of Police for Crime Services. And you understood the two issues as presented to you. We also have sharing this platform Deputy Commissioner of Police Emmanuel Dojilike. And we also have one of our lead CSE investigators, Alfonso P, who is very instrumental in the fight against crime. So for some reason, we know that the chief has presented the crux of the matter, but if for any reason our deputy commissioner has anything, if you ask your questions, we all can jointly, answer your question on the basis of our informed perspective. So a lot of you may have some questions to ask. It's now for you to ask your questions, but please limit your questions to the subject as presented to you by our Deputy Inspector General. So we take. Okay.
Yes, my name is P. Nasmova and I work for ABC Radio. I have several questions. So I just want to go first to the stampede. You talk about the number of persons you have arrested. If I can calculate about 5 persons, are these numbers sufficient enough to present to the Liberian people as those people who are responsible for the death of 29 persons? And secondly, have you turned these people over to the necessary authority for prosecution looking at the town interval? That is the first question. The second question is this. And I'm concerned about the number of persons that were injured. Can you tell the Liberian people the status of those injured people? Were there deaths after the 29 deaths? Another question again is, this is the third question. You talk about the pastor breaching security protocol. He didn't alert the police about the crusade so as to provide the adequate necessary security environment for the safety of the people. What have you to say about the pastor? We didn't hear anything about the pastor. Was there no crime that he committed if he breached security protocol? Was there no crime for him?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I will allow you to go on with those questions so that we're able to answer those questions.
Yeah, because the question is compounded, right?
Yes.
So the first one is whether those people we arrested or charged are enough to be presented to the Liberian people. You know, crimes can be committed by 100 persons. If during your investigation you are opportune to have arrested 1 or 2 of those 100 persons, that's why we say here, in orders to be identified, were charged likewise in extension. Information will be filled as time goes by, because those who died from various backgrounds, from various families, and I know the Liberian people are working with the Liberian National Police to alert if in case they see any of those people, any of the suspects that are still on the run. So the 5 that were arrested will not be the last people. They are being charged appropriately, and those that are still unaccounted for or on the run are equally charged in extension. So anytime they are arrested, they can be forwarded to court. It's not a matter of how many persons were arrested, because the one who commit crime will not be waiting and say, here I am, here I am. So that is it. This criminal investigation continues, even though people will be forwarded to court, but the rest will come. With respect to the pastor, if we go the route in charging this pastor, it will mean that every Sunday, those who go to big churches with thousands of worshipers and members will be writing the police every time on Sunday that we go into service. Yeah. I'm not being specific with names, but there are big churches that you got know around here. So, Liberia being a Christian nation, you can see huge gathering of Christians, of believers. Going, in fact, we don't have any religious, indifference here. Religious, we have religious tolerance in this country. You see the Muslim will gather and you have their worship. You see the Christian do the same. And so the pastor will not be charged for anything. You understand? But this will be a target henceforth. If you are having huge people like this in a crusade, the best thing to do is to alert the security so that we put into place some measures for you. We don't want to be a precedent where every Sunday pastors or churches will be writing an LNP that are going to service. Because this was a normal service, and as far as our investigation is concerned, the crusade was conducted and finished with. So while people were on their way home, that's when the robbery started. And out of fear, people ran back, and the stampede took place.
Injured persons?
So, does it mean the number of persons injured?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, so speak
I'm
to
sure.
me.
So the chief investigator will elaborate on that.
And so thank you. Initially, we reviewed that indeed we had 29 deaths. Subsequently, injured persons succumbed to death. those injured persons were 2. I mean, out of the number of injured persons, 2 succumbed later on. And so this is why the number went to 31. Yeah, like you said, what the next question you asked?
I think you addressed it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. So we can take any other question.
Yeah, my name is Emmanuel too. I will go for Q112. Now, particularly to the officer who will be alleged about the issue of rape, the investigation have been able to come out with their finding. So now, what become of him, because he has had some, punishment coming by having not been part of the police until the investigation come to an end. What become of his status now?
Yeah, like I said, justice is two-way street. When someone is accused of having committed crime, the investigator go through the process, and there was no, criminal culpability is not proven against you, and you are acquitted. Justice said, right? If you found guilty and you forwarded the court sentence you, justice also said. So in this internal investigation, which is not just purely internal, because if administratively, professional standard handled it previously, followed by Women and Children Protection, we found no criminal culpability on this officer, meaning his rights, responsibility, his dignity will be restored, will be reinstated. But before that, he was interdicted. As per our Police Act, when you are interdicted, you are entitled to 1/3 of your salary until the outcome of the investigation. Now that the investigation is concluded, it's being exonerated, you're going to be reinstated and then full salary.
So just in addition to what the chief has just told you, given the sensitivity of this investigation and the sentiments attached in the earliest stages, we were very sensitive to that. And so the investigation took into consideration working along. I'm talking about the sexual assault investigation. They took into consideration working along with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, working with the Surveillance Complaint Review Board, working with the Ministry of Justice, so that the outcome that we have provided to you today is not just going to be exclusively something that was prepared by the police, but also it took the involvement of some of our stakeholders. So it's just important for us to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Michael. In relation to the question of the asked, what become of the lady who accused the officer?
Yeah, my brother, you made allegation. The burden is on you to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. You understand that? The burden of proof lies on the accuser, one who accuses someone. You have the burden to prove your case. So in the process, there's nothing we can do to her because she made her case. And she was not able to prove beyond reasonable doubt what she said the officer did to her. So, in short, we come up with a conclusion. It is not that the police will in turn get at her and say you lie, so we're going to do this. No. That's justice. Conviction and acquittal. So the officer is exonerated of the allegation.
Yeah. So, do we have any other person before I come back to Pinas? Okay, so Pinas, let's take him and then come to you. That will be a final question.
Yeah, basically, I go for Banana TV. For the onset of the stampede in Kru Town, what we been hearing was a disappointing youth, which is coming as Zogos, carry out a mesh act. But if I overheard you, I still be corrected. You said, I know, armed robbers, and they were the one that carried it out.
So, if you said you were hearing Zogos, I don't know why your source. What is your source of information? So, what we're providing to you is the official information that we think you can use. Whether Zogo or what, act the armed committed constitute armed robbery is armed robbery. It doesn't matter which category of person did it. It's armed robbery.
So Pinas.
Okay.
Just so you, the final question for you.
Okay, finally, this lady question, one of your own, this morning, or one of the local dailies have threatened to take away her life, or in other words, commit suicide, because of the manner of form in which, according to her, the investigation went. You have the responsibility statutory to protect life and property. What are you doing about an individual, your own, or citizen who threaten to take away.
First of all, this lady is a police officer. Just being a citizen of Liberia, she has gone through other orientation, meaning that she has taken oath to protecting life, limbs, and property. The life that she has is for herself, but the Republic of Liberia, the government, is responsible for every citizen's life here. When it comes to threatening to take away your life, maybe other lawyers will counter-argue this, but an attempt constitutes a crime. If you come out to say, I will take my life, something must be done, which I think this officer is professional enough to know the consequences of threatening to take away her own life. So we are doing all we can to get to her. She will need some counseling also, even if our officers responded to armed robbery scene and exchange fire. As a result, one of the armed robbers gone down. That officer can be relieved of active duty, forwarded to the police academy for counseling. Not that you've done wrong, but you have to go and have some rest and make reflection. So with what she has said, because for every time you go to a competition, you go with a mindset to win. Making allegation against another person is like a competition, right? You expect to win. So losing this fight, which she think in her own right mind that she would have won against Joshua Green, is another trauma. So she will need some counseling. Let me make one thing clear here. We didn't go through all the long reading, but some of the facts we need to know here is that we mentioned that prior to this complaint being made by her, the officer and the accused person's wife had some data exchanges, abusive on text messages, which we have the records. At the end of that, she threatened that, saying your wife is accusing me all of the time, and you know that I'm also a married person, I'll make sure you go to jail. Telling the wife that I'll make sure your husband go to jail, you will lose you. So can you imagine? So these are some of the stuff that we cannot all talk about, but anyone can read between the lines. If someone is saying your wife, you accuse me of your husband, you're insulting me, and all of that, I'm a married person, I'll make sure your husband go to jail. So what behind it, the reasonable mind can figure it out.
So thank you so much. If you want to just add, you can add specifically to some of the issues we just presented.
Well, I'm sure the chief has spoken well before I came. Sorry for coming late. We'll have to attend to other issues. How be it inclinations to the matter coming from Kru Town, we are still working on it. The information we want to encourage the public, you should feel free to continue contacting us, and you should have persons who they reveal to us or who are fugitive now when they are returned, so as for to be notified so that they can be booked and to face prosecution. So we will not leave the matter for telling one death. That is not a small number. Someone should feel that they have machete, they have a knife, they can just go about it, intimidating to the death of such number of persons. So we are continuing to investigate that.
Okay, so at this juncture, we want to reiterate our deepest sympathy and condolences to families of those who lost their relatives and friends, loved ones in Kru Town. We also want to reiterate our commitment to the fact that this police administration, under the leadership of Honorable Sulu, will leave no stone unturned in ensuring that any officer or officers that engage in unorthodox practice will be made to face the full weight of the law, and that we are not in the business of shielding any of our officers, because any attempt to shield one bad cop is a recipe for creating more bad cops. So we want to say thank you so much to our chief our hardworking Deputy Inspector General for Crime Services for this splendid presentation of this press conference. And to the entire CSD team, the Women and Children Protection Section also here. We have our head for Women and Children Protection Section along with our deputy. They have been doing a very good job and continue to do a very good job. We want to say hats off to you all. And to our PSD team, we also want to say hats off to the PSD team. And we appreciate all of you members of the press for coming to this court press conference. Thank you so much. We look forward for more of this. Thank you.